It is time for a garden tour, guys. Alright, so I am Liv with Live Life Outdoors. I am in South Central Pennsylvania in roughly Zone 6A, 6B. I've got some spaces cleaned up and I am excited to show you the things in the garden. I am running low on space in my phone doing all these videos, so hopefully I can get a decent way through this garden here. So I wanted to start at the end. I've got my opal basil going nice and strong. It's a great scent when you pass by it. I don't typically recommend putting stuff like that in the garden bed, but I was super desperate to just get something in there that was going to grow at the start of a very rough season. And I'm not overly worried about it because it does die off. The worst case for me, I think, is going to be reseeding itself. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if I made a big mistake or not. That's just kind of how gardening is. In here, we've got our lima beans. I wasn't too sure the other day what these ones were because I hadn't seen them before, but these are our lima beans. I think these are the Christmas lima beans, so they look a bit different. I don't know how long those take before they're ready because that's the first time I've ever done them. Down here we have a hot mess of a volunteer tomato, which I decided to keep for now. I'm not entirely sure what kind these are. They might be our Powers tomatoes, or originally they were called Chernobyl, so we'll find out. I did just spot this. Got some eggs on this leaf back here that need to go. And where did the pumpkin go? There it is. There's an itty bitty pumpkin. I think that's a pumpkin. Pretty sure. And then we got our crazy squash back there. That is a Hubbard squash. I'm waiting for that one to be ready to go, and I'm just gonna have to use it because if you can see, it actually grew through the cattle panel. So when I'm ready to pick that one, I'm going to have to cut it out of there and immediately just go ahead and utilize it. So in this space, I just pulled out a summer squash, and same thing over here. Those officially had vine borers. So those came out. So now I do have vine borers. I think you guys spoke it into existence in my garden, but that eventually did happen. I've got celery down here that's been in for the whole season. The celery really made a comeback. Is it gonna taste great? I don't know, but it was eaten practically down to the ground at the beginning of the season by all the pests. Back here we've got our test beans. So we're seeing how those do to see if our soil is contaminated with mosaic virus or not. So far they're looking pretty decent. I've only seen a little bit of a crinkle, but that's promising. Unlike our lima beans that were right next to everything else that was definitely infected, they're doing great. They do have some bug damage, but they're doing pretty good. Moving on down here. Okay, so in this particular space where the arch is, any tomatoes that you see are volunteers. I did not plant any tomatoes down here at the end, so I don't know what any of these are. I'm hoping that this one back here, these look kind of small yet, but I'm hoping it's a vintage wine because those were super tasty last year and I didn't do any of those. So our blue salvia here is what's been attracting all the bees, which was the whole point, but it was hanging down into the rows and that was causing an issue for me trying to get out here to take care of the garden. So I got this one tied up, another one tied up down here. The bees were hanging out in the one that's further down, so I didn't do anything about that yet. And then I had one that was stuck under this pepper plant, so I just went ahead and yanked that one out. And then maybe in one of the short videos you saw these. I'm pretty sure these are the pimento peppers. They look like tomatoes, guys. It just blows my mind. And they're growing upside down. And I thought about it, and I said in that video I hadn't seen any tomatoes that grew upside down, or I'm sorry, peppers that grew upside down like that before. But now I do remember we had some of the little, I think they were the ajo peppers, the super teeny tiny spicy ones that sell for something ridiculous in another country. And then we got these, which I'm super excited about. So every year I grow a variegated pepper plant in my garden, at least one type. I think this was the very first one I ever did in Arizona. So this is the fish pepper. Its seeds actually have rooted stories here in Pennsylvania, so I think that's kind of cool. And then the peppers, they're variegated. How awesome is that? I do caution you to be careful having multiple variegated pepper plants. Now, these ones stay relatively small, so I shouldn't be mixing these up with other ones, but these are spicy. And then I have like my candy cane bell. They look pretty similar, like leaf-wise. They're variegated. I don't have any this year, but they start out in roughly the same shape, and so do the mocha ones. Those mocha swirls that you guys have seen in my other videos. Very similar looking plant when it starts out. And like this one back here, that's a decent size. So you could potentially mix up some baby ones with the other plants. So just be careful with that if you have like an adverse thing to spicy stuff and you're growing it for someone else in the garden. All right, guys, then what do we got over here? We have what I think are pineapple tomatoes. Look at those. Those are huge, guys. Either that or the Kellogg's. I do remember the first year that I did Kellogg's, they were quite large. I think they brought in some 1 to 2 pound tomatoes. All right, guys, I don't know if this is friend or foe here. Let's see. I honestly don't know what that is. Super cool looking. Probably a foe, but if you know, drop a comment, let me know. I'm excited to see that these are popping off here. These are the Woolly Kate. I did these just because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what fuzzy tomatoes were like. So the tomatoes are fuzzy like peaches. So if you don't like peaches for that reason, these are not for you. However, I had these in a container last year, and I am notoriously bad at taking care of container plants. These thrived, absolutely thrived in container with my lack of care. So if you're a container gardener, Woolly Kate, 1000% your tomato to do. They are super tasty. They're like I would say they're probably like a lightish yellow on the inside. And the only downfall on these, so they're very prolific. They put off a lot, but they're very slow. So if you have a short season, these are not going to be for you unless you are starting them inside super early. So there's that, the Woolly Kate. Back here, you'll notice something missing if you've been hanging out with me for a while, and that is the 42-day tomatoes. I did those in a short video. I went and pulled those out. We don't like them. We're not a red tomato household here. They are super acidic to us. They just weren't that exciting. They were great for putting off a bunch early. So if you like the red tomatoes and you want an early tomato, they were true to their name with the 42 days. That was pretty cool about that part. But that was taking up space in my garden. I can put something else here. And I also don't like to waste food like that because we just weren't eating the tomatoes. So you might as well just pull the plant out at that point. Down here, I've got some peppers to toss out because the earwigs got to them. I don't know why, guys, but they are definitely a fan of the sweet peppers. So what's been happening is I've been pulling peppers early to eat. Oh, and I just snapped the whole branch. All right, that's why you should come out here with scissors or trimmers of some sort. That might heal. It's still attached. But yeah, I've been pulling these early because I want to actually eat them. So like, if you wait, that's the color that they're going to turn. They get, the green stripes will start to turn red too if you leave them longer. But at that point, they've been eaten by the earwigs. So I've been pulling them early, which is fine. You can definitely eat them that way. And let's see here. Yep, nope, that one's good. So we don't have any holes in there. We might hear some neighbory sounds. I apologize, guys. All right, but moving on. So yeah, picking these early, they're still tasty. So I'll take it. We got some of our violas mixed in down there. We have my absolute all-time favorite Sartre Rolls tomatoes. So those are going to be the purple on top and that'll turn yellow on bottom. Those are super tasty. I can eat those like an apple. And guys, tropical sunset. I promised you I would figure out what I planted because I couldn't remember the name. But that's what these guys are. They are the tropical sunset. Those are pretty tasty too. We've got some more violas tucked in down here. This one, this pepper plant, let's see. That one doesn't have any peppers on it. I did pull some serranos the other day. That's what these are down here. I did pull off, I believe this one here. I pulled off some Anaheims earlier. And we're gonna pop the peppers down into my root patch. Grab one of these tomatoes and have a snack in the garden. All right. We have another variegated pepper. This one, I think that's a mocha swirl, but I don't see any peppers on it. My Sarts actually have a decent amount of tomatoes. The Sarts are not super prolific, but they do very well in a damp climate. They don't often crack that much. Even if they do crack, they're ones that heal very well. So even if they crack, I typically still get to use them. All right, we've got some sort of pepper here. What we have is a mess because I haven't been down here to take care of this. I don't see any peppers on this. Anaheim, I see the tag, but I don't see any peppers. So I'll have to trim that back. Maybe that'll help. And we have another serrano over here. We have our amaranth, which is my trap crop. One of my all-time favorite trap crops. You can see the buggies have been chewing on it, but that means that they leave other stuff over here alone. It's also just gorgeous. Comes in different colors. Amaranth, I believe all the different amaranth varieties are edible as well. So that's not what I do with mine, but that's something you could consider. We've got zinnias that are just tucked in random places. These are gorgeous. These are like the lime varieties. Oh look, there's a baby pepper. All right, then back here we have our blueberries tomatoes. I did these in my first year. They're by Wild Boar Farms. They were super tasty, very prolific as well. Back here we've got the black cherry. We have not been enjoying these as much, I don't think, so I feel like this is going to be another one that I take off. For these, since we like them somewhat, I will pick the healthy ones and I will chop those up and probably freeze them. That way we can just utilize them in like a chili or a stew or something like that. And then I've got my volunteer geraniums down here that I never got out of the walkway. And then over here we have more of a hot mess. All right, so these were all the volunteer tomatoes, and the reason why I let them go was because I was struggling so much with stuff in the garden. So I wanted to have this as backup food just in case. So I don't know what these are, other than if I see tomatoes or like the Woolly Kate is very obvious here. So I had some volunteer Woolly Kate. I do see that I've got some champagne bubbles or white cherry because I had both of those in the garden last season. We didn't really like these last season. They didn't taste very good, and the champagne bubbles are our absolute favorite, so I'm not sure what was happening there. So now that I do have stuff producing and I know that I'm getting stuff, I'm going to just go ahead and clean this mess up. I don't need the extra tomatoes. Here we've got our green stalk with all of our herbs, but it's also being overtaken by tomatoes, so I don't know how the stuff on the side is doing. But we've got some orange mint down here. I need to trim that up, make sure that the runners don't touch the ground, because I don't want mint setting there. I've got basil that's gone to seed. I wish you could smell this. It's the lime basil. Smells phenomenal. Amazing. We have our sage. I would love to do a sensory garden because this is amazing. Wish you could touch that. We have our opal basil. And then we've got the yellow toothache, which was essentially a trap crop because it just collected all the bugs to it. This is the holy basil. And then here we've got our greenhouse tomato. Guys, alright, I'm just gonna rip the rest of that. This is wild. Absolutely wild. It's looking super healthy. And there's definitely, like, there's tomato setting. So if you've caught past videos, they just started randomly in the middle of the ground. Oh, look, I can see what kind of tomatoes they are. Those look like they are also champagne bubbles, but they started growing in this, just sand and rocks. So plants definitely want to grow, but yeah, that's fun. So I wanted to see how well that would grow in here, since this should be a warmer space, even with the door all messed up like that. And then we're gonna go over here. Alright, so we got that space cleaned up. Isn't that awesome? So I tackled probably maybe a third of that and my boyfriend took care of the rest. It looks super good. We've got our blueberry plant here. These have petered out for the season for the most part. One little berry there. I've got my lemongrass, my purple ball basil. That's been a fun variety. It's like a super compact basil, so if you're a container gardener needing to save space, that's a fun one. This is also another super compact. It's the lemon variegated thyme. Super tasty too. Got more geraniums down here, so there is a pot down there. You just can't see it because of the tomatoes. So all of these tomatoes will go, and then now we have the ones that we actually planted. We've got more of our zinnias. Those have been super fun. So my first year, I was not crazy about zinnias at all. I thought they were super boring because I didn't have any of the variegated ones, but the ones that are variegated, they're super cool. So we've got some more of those tropical sunset tomatoes. We have quite a bit of those. Here's some more zinnias. Here's our Lily Kate. And then these ones, those are yellow back there. I see one yellow one, so I'm pretty sure those are the pineapple tomatoes. I just had one of those on a sandwich this morning. They were good. And then we've got our squash down there that I showed you guys on the other side. And there's also an amaranth down here. So the tomato plants are very tall at this point. And I will be pulling off a lot of the cherry tomatoes. I should have those beefsteaks ready soon. We have some plants over here that need some desperate attention. So this is I want to say a lemon blueberry, but I need to cut off all the dead stuff. It needs a permanent home. We've got a volunteer blackberry that I don't want there, so that needs to go somewhere else. Another blackberry. This one is on its third season, I think, so that one definitely needs a permanent home as well. We've got our honeywort, which is in fact variegated. Guys, isn't that awesome? So I saved seeds from a variegated one last year and I wasn't sure if it would come back the same, and it did. It's super cool. More geraniums. Love those. And then we have over here the magnificent sunflower. Look at that thing. That's wild. Down here at the base of the sunflower, we have randomness. So there's a lot of volunteer stuff. We have Very sad looking dahlia. We've got some sort of squash plant here. Hopefully that'll give me some food. And then we have my flower garden, which is also a hot mess. So I need to work on cleaning this up. I love the Rudbeckia back there. That's gorgeous. I've got seed pods back there for the columbine. These are the Pacific Sunrise calendula. Got some here too, just a different color. The Peruvian zinnias, they're like a mini version. And then we got a big one. Oh, hey, look. Oh, that's cool, guys. I didn't know the 4 o'clocks came out. Awesome. So I'm hoping the variegated ones are hanging out here somewhere, because those were super cool last year. And then we've got our hollyhocks, which have gone to seed. You can even see, let's not disturb the bee. You can see back there that flower has seeds that have spilt down from the pods up here into the flower. So that's super cool. So I'll do a separate video showing you the seeds out of those when all the flying things are gone. But that's a lot of seeds. That's super fun. All right, I'm obsessed with seed saving for sure. So we'll do some videos for those. I haven't gotten anything into this spot yet. That's working on it. We have some more glorious sarts. We have our roselle, which I got in too late, so I don't think they're gonna give me any calyxes this time. We have some volunteer tomatoes. More volunteer. So again, these are those champagne bubbles. They were our favorite. Let's see how they taste. Yeah, they're just not that great anymore. I don't know what happened. Maybe they crossed too many times. All right. And we've got more of our mocha swirl, our Cubanelle peppers, and that's about it for over here. We have our brassicas that aren't doing anything other than protecting the soil. I'm gonna take those out and start new ones. There's some volunteer tomatoes back there too. And there's a mulberry tree that needs to come out. Let's do that right now. Or attempt to. All right. We're gonna need some extra strength for that. But yeah, that is it, I think, for this garden tour. I've got some tomatoes down there that need to be picked up. Those are volunteer tomatoes. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's where the garden is right now. We've definitely got things moving along, finally bringing in some produce, and we're gonna have some big changes coming up. I do plan to get this section taken out, probably this part as well, which is a little bit sad, but we'll just get stuff moved around. And the plan is to put up a greenhouse right here, like an official window greenhouse, so that I have something close and functional that's gonna last through the seasons, that I can start seeds in, and also hopefully extend my growing season, and I have stuff in there during colder times. So like maybe some leafy greens or some such things. We'll see. We got plans. Plans don't always happen for us, because, you know, ADHD. But that's it for this one, guys. I will see you in the next video. I'll pop something up at the top for you to watch next.